Because the worst feeling in sales isn't a hard no, it's the slow drift. Keep it tight, reference the why, not just the what. You're not just selling, you're leading with clarity. That's how professionals like you roll. Everything we talked about today, urgency, rhythm, truth in the sales process, comes down to one thing: how you show up when it gets messy. A full contact, psychological warfare, booby trap turned family blood sport kind of game.
Welcome to Get Your Mind Right. Today, we're diving into your questions and insights in our mailbag segment. Thanks to everyone who wrote in. Let's open up the mailbag.
Good morning, and welcome to Get Your Mind Right Mailbag Edition. Well, it's been a while since I've seen you. I hope you enjoyed your Christmas holidays and especially the guest hosts I brought in December. I know I did. I also hope that you set those New Year's resolutions and goals for yourself and you're already working on them. Well, we're going to dive right in to that point because today's show is packed with real world problems. We got folks out there drowning in hopium from flaky prospects, others trying to decode the mystery of outreach cadences, and one person calling out the elephant in the room. And that elephant is, can you guarantee results? Spoiler alert, no you can't, but we're going to talk about it. And in today's backstory, we're digging into what happens when the stakes are high, emotions are hot, and you have to figure out who's got the stomach to stay in the game when things get chaotic. Let's just say the lessons come straight from our childhood experience in pain, betrayal, family, and booby traps. Let's get to it. Our first is from Brad Holler from Nashville, Tennessee. And this one is the commitment with no calendar. Brad writes, John, how do you handle that prospect who says, I'm going to go with you, but keeps dragging their feet? Well, Brad, the worst feeling in sales isn't a hard no. It's what you've got here, and that's a slow drift. You get that verbal commitment, you get the yes on the call, and now you find that they're dragging their feet. It's not because they don't want it. It's because they don't feel the cost of waiting. This isn't a pricing objection. This is a missing urgency problem. Now, here's how you bring that urgency back without sounding like a pressure pitching weasel. And the first thing to do is to diagnose this drift, because deals drift when one thing disappears, and that is consequence. Your decision maker said yes in the moment, but the longer you let that yes float without action, the more their internal clock resets. Now, a few things happen when urgency is missing. That decision maker, they become passive. They're going to say things like, hey, let's revisit this after the holidays, after spring break, after summer break, after fall break, and then again after the holidays. Next thing you're going to find is they're going to start comparing you based only on price. And last but not least, they drop off your calendar. And this is the worst part. This deal didn't die, just flatlined. Now, what I want you to do here, Brad, is shift from pressure to protection, because you don't need to apply pressure here. You need to apply clarity. Urgency is not about forcing a decision. It's about helping that decision maker see what changes if they wait versus what improves if they act now. This is a power secret here, Brad. This is where 90% of the sales reps fall down. So try this. Say, Mr. Customer, every week we wait, your competitors are adding reviews and climbing Google rankings. This isn't about us. This is about them beating you there. It's clarity, that's consequence, and that is urgency. Now, it's the same thing with merchant services. I hear all the time from people that have a cash discount or do a price proposal out there. The merchant gets really excited about it, but at the last minute, they can't get them removed. So try this. Say, Mr. Klein, I appreciate you want to think about this, but let's talk about what's at stake here. This is $1,500 a month that we're going to save you. Now, we put this off for 2 months now. That's $3,000 off your bottom line. You're never going to get back. How long do we want to keep doing this? Now, Your next step, Brad, is to use all your 3 tools in your question trick bag here. That's the magic question, the trial close, urgency line. So a magic question in this instance might be, how confident are you that your listings and your reviews are helping, not hurting your visibility right now? A trial close is really taking the merchant's temperature here. Say, Mr. Client, if we could correct all 137 listings and give you 5 verified reviews a month starting this week, what would that mean to your sales? And last but not least is ethical urgency. Mr. Client, Google's next update is in 30 days. Waiting means that your old information is what they keep indexing. Now, Brad, here's what I want to be very clear about this. You're not pushing. You simply opened the gap, you tested their direction, and showed that cost of delay. Now, the last thing here is calendar control, because once they reaffirm interest, lock in that calendar. Mr. Client, let's get you on the schedule so you don't lose another week. I can start your onboarding Monday or Thursday. Which works better for you in order to get this live in January? It's an either-or situation here, a clear timeline backed by business reality. Brad, you don't need more follow-up. You need more consequence. That decision maker, they said yes to you once. Now it's your job to help them move. Don't let this stall into the hopium territory. Bring the urgency. Thanks for the question, Brad. Go show them how a real closer does it. Now, my next question is from Patrick Hansen from Fredericksburg, Virginia. And he's all about the multi-touch rhythm. Patrick asks, John, do you have a cadence when reaching out to businesses via social media? You recommend a pattern such as email, phone, DM, any of these, each referencing the last? Well, Patrick, my answer is yes and yes, because here's the deal. Decision makers don't move just because you've reached out. They move because you've built familiarity and context. And that, my friend, takes rhythm. Here's a proven 5-touch cadence. On day 1, you send them an email. Patrick, this email has to be short, it has to be personal, and have a clear subject line. The next thing to do on day 2 is to send a LinkedIn or Instagram DM referencing that email. Again, short, succinct, and to the point. I'm going to wait a day or 2, and I'm going to follow up with a call. And if they don't answer the phone, I'm going to leave them a thought-out voicemail that's going to have a specific reason for them calling me back, a sense of urgency to that, and a specific value that I'm adding in that voicemail. On the next day, I'm going to follow up with another email referencing the voicemail. And on day 8, I'm going to send another call or a social comment if they're active. Now, the important thing here, Patrick, is to keep it tight. Reference the why, not just the what. You might say, Bob, I emailed last week about helping local businesses own the first page of Google search. Dropping a quick note here to see if that visibility push is still a priority for you this quarter. 3 things to remember. Number 1, each touch should stand alone. No guilt trips, no passive aggressive, just circling back again. And again, Patrick, keep these things short, 2 or 3 sentences max. No one reads long DMs. Always keep it in your mind. In this instance, less, in fact, is more. And always, always, always lead with value. A stat, a local example, or a simple question always beats a pitch. This pattern here you're building, Patrick, it's solid. Just make sure each step builds content, not clutter. You're not nagging here, you're building recall. Patrick, I appreciate the question very much. And we're going to wrap up today's mailbag section with Bree Miracle from Newburgh, Indiana, and the dreaded guarantee question. Bree writes, John, I'm noticing an influx of questions circled around, can you guarantee X results? How would you respond to these questions for marketing? Call him up again? Email campaign? Well, Bree, this one's a classic. And I want to share a secret with you here. This one's really not about guarantees. It's about trust. When a DM asks that, what they're really saying is, How do I know this will work for me? Because chances are they may have been burned before. So here's how we're going to hit this. We're going to hit it head on. The first thing I want you to do, Bree, is to flip the frame. Mr. Merchant, can I guarantee results? No, I can't, because I don't control your industry, your seasonality, or your customers. But here's what I can guarantee. If your listings stay broken, your reviews go stale, and your ads stay off, nothing will improve. Bree, this is not pressure. That's protection, it's clarity, and it's truth. Now, notice the other thing I did on this. I didn't try to dance around it. I didn't try to give him a non-answer on this. I repeated the line back to him. Can I guarantee results? No. I'm running the ball right up the middle on him. This is a credibility booster for you. Now, your next thing to do is to provide proof and not promises. Drop a case study on them, a statistics, or a live demo. You might say, hey, Mr. Client, we just helped a roofing company jump from page 3 to the top 5 in 90 days. I can show you how that worked if you want specifics. Evidence and facts beats emotion, and this in turn builds belief. Now, your next step, Bree, is to use it to open the conversation. If this is coming in heavy on email or social, use it as a re-engagement filter. Yeah, you say, Mr. Client, I hear this question a lot. You mind if I show you what's actually happening with your current traffic, your visibility, and reviews so we can make this less theoretical? Now, Bree, this is one of my favorites because what I'm doing here is pivoting from doubt to dialogue. I'm not deflecting, I'm directing. I am showing them the real world solution in action and how we're going to make it work for your client. Hey, Bree, thank you so much for asking what everyone is hearing. You're not just selling here, you're leading with clarity. And that's how professionals like yourself roll. Before we begin the backstory today, let's zoom out for a second. Everything we talked about, that's urgency, rhythm, truth in the sales process, comes down to one thing, and that is how you show up when things get messy, when the deal slows down, when the decision maker drifts, when you're stuck in the waiting room with no traction. Some reps panic, some reps freeze, and some, they build traps, which leads us to the backstory. Welcome to the backstory, where I take a step back before we move forward. Each week, I share moments that shape me, whether it's my time as a sales rep, my journey as a dad, experiences I had, stories I've learned, or the curiosity that's followed me since childhood. Because every lesson learned today, well, there's usually a story worth telling behind it. Let's get into it. Today's backstory's name is Trap, the Guillotine, and Other Childhood Pastimes. Now, when I was a kid, with my friends, my sister, and my cousins, everything, and I mean everything, was a competition. If you could play it, break it, or weaponize it, that's what we did. No safe zones, no hugs, no warning shots. But there was one game we invented that stood out above all the rest, and it was called Trap. This was the family go-to game played with my sister and my cousins, Scotty and Tracy. Now, Trap had the defining hallmarks of the perfect Johnson invented game. This was a full contact psychological warfare, booby trap turned family blood sport type of game. Now, the rules here were quite simple. One team shut the door to the bedroom and built a trap behind a locked door. They gave it a terrifying name, and then they made the other team send someone in blindfolded and sometimes with their hands bound. One team member going through the trap watched while the other team member walked into it. Now, we are talking real and present danger here. Duct tape, broken toys, and a few times, including today's episode, literal bloodshed. Now, this game usually ended in one of two ways. Number one, my Uncle Smokey. He would come into the room. As you might guess, it would get kind of loud. And it generally ended with him saying something like, hey, let's keep it down to a roar back here. And the other one was Smokey's wife, my Aunt Boots, who would come in there angry leading with, I thought we weren't playing trap anymore. As you might guess, parents were not a big fan of trap. Now, the other way it would end was the players, my sister and I and my two cousins, we decided it was getting a little too rough, a little too out of control. And today's version, it was time to stop it. Now, of all the games we played, for my money, the greatest hit of all time was the Guillotine. And this trap involved a windowsill, my cousin Scotty's head, and a window slammed full force on the side of Scotty's ear. Now, this particular episode of Trap ended with yelling parents, blood, and permanent family legend status. Now, what did we learn from these violent family games? Well, several things. Number one, the traps weren't necessarily always fair, or for that matter, were they ever really fair? And that some people walk in blindfolded while others watch it unfold. But when that chaos hits, you find out who's built for it and who isn't. Because here's the truth. In sales, in leadership, in business, in life, there is always a trap. You're either building it for someone else, you're walking into it yourself, or you're standing there watching it all unfold and deciding when to intervene. And you know what? That's where we are right now. Traps are everywhere. Prospects pretending to be ready. Deals stalling out. Reps losing urgency, blaming the process. Now, the real test, who's got the stomach to stay sharp when it gets painful? Because anyone can prospect, can develop clients when it's easy, but a very few survive the guillotine. Now, let's recap today's mailbag. Brad learned how to call out, I'm going with you stall tactic that without burning bridges. And Patrick's got a step-by-step cadence that keeps outreach human and effective. And Bree got the script and the stance to handle guaranteed questions without flinching. And for the backstory recap, you're probably thinking that as an adult, I learned my lesson on these games. And if you think that, you might be a little bit off base. True to their bloodlines, my children also invented games. And their favorite game's name was Pain. Pain. It literally was the name of the game. And as you might guess, my wife was not, and to this day is not a big fan of pain. Now, lastly, chasing the wrong goal can look like effort, but folks, it's really avoidance. Time to get honest about your prospects and which of your goals for this whole coming year, that is 2026, are actually worth the grind. Now, it's quiz time. Please drop your answers and your comments in the box down below. But which of the following here is a sign that you are stuck in Brad Holler's hopium trap? A, you've sent 3 emails and heard nothing. B, they said, I'm going with you, but won't schedule a call. C, you're avoiding calling other leads while waiting for this one. Or D, all of the above. Again, when you post that in the comments below, tell me which one resonated with you the most. And hey, share this with someone who needs it. I want you to like it and to hit that subscribe button. If you got questions or comments, I'd love to hear them. I'll see you back here on Wednesday for Get Your Mind Right.